Now adjourn. The honourable member for Courtenay-Alberni.
It's a privilege to rise today on a really important issue that's impacting small businesses throughout Canada. Madam Speaker, small businesses throughout the pandemic closed their doors to protect public health, to protect the people in our communities, Madam Speaker. They're the unsung heroes that aren't talked enough about in this House and in this country. And Madam Speaker, many of them took a major hit, obviously financially. And I've just got some stats from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. They cite that 60% of small businesses are still struggling with pandemic debt. In fact, the average pandemic debt is $126,827. 47% of businesses, small businesses, are operating below normal in terms of sales, and at 19% are at a risk of closure. This is a significant amount of small businesses that are one of the economic drivers in our communities and employ many workers that rely on small businesses to succeed. Now, Madam Speaker, my colleague from South Okanagan, West Courtenay, has been pushing on the federal government to extend the CEBA loan for one more year for the full-fledged forgivable portion. We've been calling for a CEBA extension, Madam Speaker, and 250,000 businesses have been, are at risk right now of closing their doors. So as New Democrats, we understand the critical need to support small business, and we're glad to see the Bloc join in our call for a full-fledged extension for next year, Madam Speaker, the end of next year. We're glad to see the Greens support our call to action. But guess who's missing in action? The Conservatives, Madam Speaker. We can't find the Conservatives when it comes to this critical ask of small business that the Canadian Federation of Independent Business has identified as critical to supporting small business. And Madam Speaker, I'm just going to read a note from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. It's part of their petition. They're asking people to write to the government. 18 days isn't an extension, it's an insult. That's what the federal government just offered small business when it comes to the CEBA loan. Then they've got to go, if they can, go back to the bank where they got the CEBA loan. They've got to come up with a deal, Madam Speaker, by March, and have that bank take over the loan, or they lose the forgivable piece. And then they've got to pay huge interest on top of that, Madam Speaker, to the bank that finances them. This is absolutely an insult to these small businesses and those that close their doors to protect our health, Madam Speaker. And I went on a business walk with Jolene Dick, the executive director of the Alberni Valley Chamber of Commerce. We went into Flandangle's Kitchen and Gifts in Port Alberni. Was talking to Christine Washington. Not only did Christine close her doors to protect public health, she kept her employee going. She went out and got a job so that she could pay her employee the difference on the wage subsidy, Madam Speaker. She has paid $10,000 a year for the last 2 years towards the debt, but she can't afford to meet the deadline. She's on her way back up, but this isn't fair to punish Christine Washington and Flandangle's Kitchen and Gifts, who not only, Madam Speaker, close their doors to support public health, they support our community. Wildflower Bakery, same boat. They paid $5,000 towards their loan. In fact, the mayor of our community, Madam Speaker, who owns a restaurant, told me that there isn't a restaurant she knows of that has been able to pay back the CEBA loan. So I'm asking the government, will they extend the full CEBA loan to the end of next year with the full one-third non-repayable portion for December 31st, 2024?